Hi everyone, I'm Zilla Blitz and welcome. Today I'm excited to be taking a look at Modern Tactics Afghanistan, the new tactical combat game from VUCA Simulations designed by Shane Logan. This is the first volume in a new combat system designed to handle tactical engagements from the Vietnam War to the near future. This volume simulates 20 engagements in Afghanistan in the 21st century. One player controls either the US or Canadian forces, with occasional Afghan coalition forces assigned. The other player takes the insurgents. Let's jump in and take a look. Let's do an overview as we look at the components spread out in front of us. This is a two-player Hex Encounters tactical combat game that simulates engagements in Afghanistan from 2002 to 2011. Now, it's important to note this game's ancestors, which are the very popular old-school tactical combat games from Flying Pig Games. The designer, Shane Logan, is the designer of both that series and this game, and we'll talk more about the symmetry as we dig in. Playing time is listed as 1 to 5 hours, and this will depend largely on the scenario selected, as there are 20 scenarios in all, and the length and size of those scenarios range greatly. This is a highly tactical game system. Units are squads, teams, individual leaders, and individual vehicles. Turns represent 2 to 5 minutes of real time, so an entire scenario represents an hour or less of actual combat. Map hexes represent 60 meters across. Let's talk about the main features of Modern Tactics. First of all, one of the most exciting things about this game, from my perspective, is the system feel to the game. The rulebook is labeled Core Rules, the game is Modern Tactics #1, and the intro mentions that the game is designed to simulate combat from the Vietnam era to the near future. It's very exciting to think that we might get this system applied to Vietnam and other 21st century conflicts. It's also important to stress the symmetry with Old School Tactical. I'm familiar with the Old School Tactical system, and reading through the Modern Tactics rules, I feel like I'm already 3/4 of the way to understanding how to play. It's also important to stress that the Old School Tactical Combat system aims for playable tactical combat. So if you find other tactical combat systems intimidating, you might want to consider this one. That's not to say that the system is skimping on details. All the elements of tactical combat are here. There are leaders, vehicles, squads, weapon teams, snipers, helicopters, mortars, and support weapons. For combat, we have vehicle versus vehicle combat mechanics, ranged combat, helicopter rules, melee, and connected to this is the wide range of terrain in the game and line of sight rules, as one would also expect. There are also a lot of other terrain elements, things like wire, roadblocks, mines, IEDs, smoke, foxholes, and trenches. One of the distinguishing features of this tactical system is its impulse system. Basically, at the start of each turn, each side will be given a variable number of impulses, which depends on the number of units, scenario conditions, and a die roll. This number is essentially how many units you can activate in your turn. Each side then alternates activating units until both sides have extinguished their supply of impulses. It's a sleek system that keeps both players always engaged in the action. Another feature of this game is its data cards, which provide an excellent reference for how to use units in the particular scenario you're fighting. This allows for the counters to stay relatively clean and gives you all the information you need without having to squint at tiny numbers on the units. Most tactical combat systems have a morale system, and Modern Tactics has that as well. There are also all the nuances of tactical engagements, transporting units, airstrikes, and off-board artillery. Stacking in the game is 2 units, 2 single-person counters, and any number of support weapons. From playing Old School Tactical, I found this a very manageable system to play. Hidden unit rules are also in the game, although not all scenarios will use them. There's a second deck of cards in the game called the Luck cards, which also bring an element of events to every scenario that can range from good luck to bad luck. Lastly, specific to this version of Modern Tactics, we've got a number of Afghanistan-specific rules, things like walled compounds, and a range of insurgent units that behave uniquely, things like fanatics, bombers, and recruits. Let's take a look at the documentation in Modern Tactics. The game comes with a rulebook and a playbook. And the rulebook is the core rule system for the game. The playbook contains the game-specific rules and the scenarios. The core rulebook is 50 pages, but it's important to note that, like many tactical systems, you won't be using all the rules in any given scenario. Many scenarios won't have vehicles or helicopters, for example, or off-board artillery, or civilians, and things like that. As we've come to expect and anticipate with VUCA Sims productions, these rules are a visual delight. Sections are clearly delineated, and there are oodles of examples and graphics to support the learning. I've been reading through them and I feel the same way that I felt when reading the old school tactical rules, which is that this is one of the most playable tactical combat systems out there. And while I'm curious to see how it stands up to the added complexity of modern combat, everything feels polished here, and I'm cautiously optimistic that this system will shine in modern combat. Having said that, tactical combat is tactical combat, and there are a lot of elements to the game. If I were to give this a complexity estimate, I'd say a 5.5 out of 10, which for a tactical combat system with this level of detail, I think will be outstanding. Solitaire-wise, there is no bot system or solo play guidance, but outside of the small influence of hidden units in a couple of scenarios, this is a very playable solo system. The impulse mechanic means that you're never quite sure how things are going to play out in any given scenario, and these sorts of alternating systems of gameplay are fun, a lot of fun in solo play. I'll give this a 6.5 out of 10 for solo play. In addition to the core rulebook, Modern Tactics Afghanistan also comes with a 26-page playbook. This contains the rules specific to this volume in the Modern Tactics series, as well as the hefty set of 20 scenarios that come with the game. Now, the game-specific rules are really only a couple of pages, and the bulk of this document is the 20 scenarios. There are 10 scenarios that feature Canadian forces and 10 that feature US forces. And looking through these, there look to be a good range of small, quick scenarios, as well as a number of larger ones. As we'll see as we look at the map, there's a good variety of battlefields here too. It's great to see this robust set of scenarios in the game, as it adds so much depth and replay value. Modern Tactics comes with 5 sheets of pre-rounded double-sided counters. The ground unit counters and gameplay markers are 3/4 of an inch, while the vehicles are a larger 7/8 of an inch. Now, I've punched out and sorted these counters in the game into these 2 cube-for-me storage trays for easy setup and storage. This kit for this game is available from the link down below in the video description, and if you use that link, you get a 5% discount on your order. Let's dig in and explore some of the counters. The front side for infantry units are full strength, while the back side is their reduced side. Here we can see some of the single-person leader counters, and we have a large number of US and Canadian rifle squads. There are also rangers, combat engineers, mortars, and heavy machine gun teams, among other specialized units. There are also a number of support weapons, with light machine guns being the most common. And very surprising in a good way is the variety of vehicles in the game. We've got Bisons, Humvees, Leopard tanks, Blackhawks, Chinooks, and even an Apache. On the insurgent side, we've got technicals and trucks as their main vehicles, and I haven't listed all of the vehicles available in the game. Insurgent forces have fighter squads, leaders, bombers, and fanatics, among several other types of units. The typical infantry squad just has a few numbers on it, with any of the other important information residing on the unit's data card, which is positioned, of course, off the map. The left numbers are the firepower and the maximum range. The middle number is the defense factor, and the right number is the movement. It's very simple. Vehicles have more information, of course, but the combination of the units and data cards keeps the counter uncluttered. The second tray has all the markers used in the game, things like smoke and move fire markers and rubble, cover, as well as the various markers for recording certain game states like units locked in melee. There are also some scenarios that have Afghan Army Coalition forces aligned with the US or Canadians, and those are here as well. And lastly, here are our civilian units too. Modern Tactics Afghanistan comes with 5 player aids, and let's walk through them. There are 2 identical 6-panel general gameplay aids, and these are all vinyl cardstock with good durability. On these are the sequence of play guide. We've got tables for infantry combat, tables for vehicle target combat, and tables for helicopter combat as well. Down below we have a bunch of information on executing combat. Then here we have the terrain effects chart, and lastly on the back here, other combat tables. It's a great reference that I think is going to keep the player from having to dive into the rulebook so much, as it seems like everything important has been built into these player aids. There are also track displays for each side, where you track victory points for each side, enemy casualty points, and then your impulse points. Lastly, there is this scenario display that contains some detailed terrain information, as well as your turn track to keep track of the turns in the game. Modern Tactics Afghanistan comes with 2 decks of cards. Data cards have detailed information on the units in the game, and luck cards which function like events. In traditional VUCA fashion, these cards are all high-quality, durable vinyl cards. They feel great. In front of us now, I've got spread out 6 of the data cards. Every unit type in the game has a data card that goes with it. So when you're playing a scenario, you'll store these data cards to the side of the map. They function in many ways like mini references for the rules that go with each unit in the game. They're particularly helpful for ranged vehicles and special weapons, like this Apache that has different 2-hit numbers depending upon the range. Here's another 6 cards, and we can see, for example, this vehicle card, the Leopard 2, has a lot more information on it. This is for the improvised explosive devices, which give you rule references and guidance on how they work. Another way that this game, I think, keeps you out of rulebook diving, because the information you need is either on a player aid or on one of these data cards. The luck cards function as events, and here are 6 of the 27 that come with the game. They've got a range of outcomes, from cards that give a new squad to the insurgents, to cards that add mortar and offboard artillery to the coalition forces. A lot of variety and range of things that can happen with these in the game. Map time. So Modern Tactics comes with 2 mounted maps, but 4 playable sides. And let's start with the smaller of these 2. This map is for the smaller scenarios, and it's 11 inches by 16 inches. So hexes in the game, by the way, are 1 inch and 1/8 inch wide, so nice and big. And we can see here some walled terrain with crops and green areas, a few buildings scattered about. On the back side, we've got a drier landscape with some wadi here and a small outpost at the bottom center of the map. On the larger scale, we have the 22 inch by 34 inch maps. We can see here the urban map with streets and buildings galore for the urban scenarios. Now, I can say that in person, these maps are magnificent. They just ooze style and draw you in. This is just very well done stuff. The backside of the larger map is a more rural landscape. We've got some wadi here, some scattered buildings, mixed woods, and these are grape fields in here. Just a great variety of terrain on this one too. And there we have it, a look at the first game in what looks to be a new tactical combat series, Modern Tactics. I'm really impressed with the look of this Afghanistan game, and if it plays as well as old school tactical, I think this could be a must-have game and system for tactical fans. I'm curious if people watching this have picked this up yet, had a chance to play it yet, and how do you like it? I'd be happy to also answer any questions that you might have about the game as well, and thank you so much for watching.